What's up everyone and welcome to the club. In today's video, we're creating a sketch illustration of Naruto. Now you want to begin today's lesson by adding some guidelines in the center of our page to help with the symmetry of our drawing. Let's start at the very top right in the middle. It's going to lightly work our way down towards the bottom. Just using these short lines. Now you don't want to try to do this with one continuous line. It's just a lot easier by just breaking this up and just kind of smoothing that out. Now let's go back to the center and draw another straight line going across from left to right. So we'll start out here on the left, extend that out, and pull that across towards the right. Now I'm going to use these lines to help us create a circle. From the center, let's go all the way up to the top. I'm just going to mark this off with a straight line. Let's take that same distance down towards the bottom. So right about here, I'm just going to mark this off. Let's do the same thing across this horizontal line, taking this distance towards the left side, and then this distance towards the right. Now I want to connect each of these marks with a curve to create that circle. Let's start with the top left. Now this circle doesn't have to be perfect, we just want to get the right size and location on our page. So right in the middle. And we can always go back and just readjust this circle, just smoothing it out. Now with our circle in place, let's add a few more guidelines. Starting from the side of our circle, draw a straight line coming down. And then along the bottom of our circle, draw another straight line going across from left to right. Now with our drawing, we want to tilt the head forward. So we're going to place the eyes along the bottom half of our circle. So from here to the bottom of our circle, it's going to find the halfway point. Sketch a line going across from left to right. Now I want to locate the inside edge of the eyes. Leaving a gap in the center, let's go over toward the left, draw a straight line coming down. Now I want to take this distance towards the right and do the same thing. Now from here, we're going to lightly block in the main facial features to try to capture the proportions. Let's start with the top edge of the eyes. We're going to start from this line. I'm just going to bend this up and out towards that top line. And line this up on the right. Let's move to the outside, curve the eye coming down and then in towards the bottom. And we'll just round out the bottom of the eye. Now I want to tuck the iris and pupil underneath the eyelid. So over on the left side, we draw a half circle coming down and just bending that back up on the inside. And we'll do the same thing on the right. Let's place a small circle in the center of the iris. Now we want to draw the bottom edge of the headband. Starting over on the left side, I'm just going to curve this down, just up above the eyes, come in towards the center, and then bend that back up on the right. Now I want to place the eyebrows on top of the eyes underneath the headband. So on the left side, I'm just going to curve this down above the eye, and then bend that in. Let's line this up on the right, going out and then up. Let's curl up the inside of the brow, coming in and then up. Now I'm just going to add some thickness to the eyebrows. From the inside corner, step up, just taper this out underneath the headband on both sides. Now I move back to the center, just underneath this bottom line, draw a V, coming down and then back up for the nose. Then from the tip of the nose, let's step down, just draw a straight line going across from left to right, just to mark off the mouth. From this line, let's step down, just draw a short line going across for the lower lip. Step down again, draw another line going across from left to right for the chin. Now I'm going to place the jaw along the same line as the mouth. So starting from the side of the head, I'm just going to curve the jaw, coming down, and then bending that in towards the bottom. Let's go to the right and do the same thing. Coming down and then bending that in. Now let's angle the head coming down and in towards the chin. From the left side, come down and then in. Now from the end of the headband, we're going to step in, draw the edge of the hair, coming out and then down towards the side. Let's add some basic shapes for the ears. From the edge of the headband, draw a straight line going out, come straight down, and we'll angle that back down and in towards the side of the head. Now we want to move up and draw the top edge of the headband, starting over on the left, and come down, across, and then up towards the right. Let's block out that metal plate in the center of the head. From the sides, draw 2 straight lines coming down. Let's add a thin trim along the top, just tracing out that curve from left to right on the top and bottom. Now we're going to go back and just round out the corners, just taking out that sharp point. Now from here, I just want to add some volume for the hair. Let's start from the side of the headband, draw a circle, going all the way around, going up and in towards the top, come around the right side, and then back in towards the side of the headband. Now before we add in the spikes, let's move down and draw on the side of the neck. From the jaw, we'll step in, draw 2 straight lines coming down. Let's connect the bottom with a curve, coming down, and then back up. Now to go underneath the earlobes, draw the collar, coming around, and then back in. And then from here, it's going to bend this in and then down towards the bottom of our page. Now let's draw on the outside of the collar. Starting from the side of the ear, come around. I'm just going to follow the same curve, pulling this in. And we'll just bend that back down towards the bottom. Let's go to the side, draw a straight line coming down, and then pull that back in towards the inside of the collar. Now let's go back and add those spikes around this curve. Let's start from the inside, add a point, coming down towards the side, and pull that straight up. Let's add a small point on the outside, coming down and out. I'm just going to pull that in toward the outside line. And now we're going to continue to add these spikes going around that curve. Let's start back on the left. Coming down a little bit longer. And just pull that back up and in. And just working our way around. Going out and then in. Now at this stage, we don't want to get too detailed. Just want to get the right shape first, and we can come back and just readjust the volume later. Let's move back down and add some hair along the bottom. Start with a straight line coming down from the ears. Go up and in. Add another point. Now from here, we're going to add those scars across the face. Starting from the outside, going up and in towards the eye. Now we're just using these guidelines to help line these up. Stepping down. Add another scar. And then one from the jaw coming up and in. Now we're going to go back and lightly erase some of these guidelines. Now for this, I'm just using this light gum eraser. Now that we have our clean rough sketch in place, let's go back and darken up our lines and refine the contours. Let's start with the bottom edge of the headband. We start from the outside. I'm just using these short lines. I don't want to try to complete this with one continuous line. Just tracing this little by little, just working our way across towards the right. And we can always just modify the shape as we go. We're just using that sketch underneath as a guide. Then along the bottom, I'm just going to add a little fold. Coming around, and again, just adding a little bit more shape on the outside. And we'll just add that fold across the bottom. Layer the hair on top, giving this a little bit of a bend. Now we're just working our way around that metal plate. A couple folds in behind. And I'm also going to add a little bit of a bevel along the top. So we're just going to trace that curve, starting on the left side. And just fade that out towards the ends. And then we're going to add those rivets, one on each corner, and then one in the middle on either side. Now with the headband in place, we can go back and just tuck the eyebrows in underneath. So we just want to start with the bottom edge first, and then just work our way out. Now that we have the eyebrows in place, we'll go back and just tuck the eyes in underneath. I just want to give a bit of a curve to the top of the eyelid, coming out towards the side, and also adding a little bit of thickness. And just tapering out to a point on the outside of the eye. And just lightly come down the side. So we got that thick line along the top, coming down towards a point along the bottom. And now just lightly tracing out the bottom. Now I can trace out the outside of the iris. I like to start off a little bit lighter. Just check the placement of the eye first, and then we can come back and just darken that up. And if we need to make adjustments, it's just a lot easier to do it with a lighter line. Let's go ahead and darken up the center of the pupil. Now on the left side of the eye, I'm just going to trace out the highlight, coming in towards the pupil, and then bending that back out. Now I don't want to go too dark with this, because we're just going to shade in the outside, just very lightly. Going around that highlight. Now from the eyes, we're just going to work our way down towards the nose. Just lightly tracing out the bottom, going out towards the nostrils. And from here, I'm just going to add some shape to the mouth. Just curling up the corners. And opening up the right side. So we're just going a little bit darker with the mouth on the outside corners and just fading that in. Lip, just adding a little bit of an upside down triangle. Now we're just working our way around the outside perimeter of the head. Now I'm just going to round up the jaw, just taking out that sharp point. I can always step back and just look at our proportions before we commit to our lines. Just lightly sketching that in first, take a step back, and just readjust this if we need to. And now we're going to go and add those scars. Just adding a slight bend, just curve this up and in. And again, I'd like to go a little bit darker along the outside and just fade that in towards the inside of the face. This just helps give this a little bit more shape. And as we just finish off the face, we're going to work our way around the ears. Again, just adding some more shape and detail. Just pulling that in. And we can go back and just darken up our lines. And then add those folds along the inside. just going to add some cross hatching in that shadow area of the ears. And now just loosely working our way around the collar. Just adding some folds along the inside. I'm just going to add those pleats along the inside of the collar along the top. Starting from the side of the neck, just bending these up and out. And then along the top, just add these short curves going across the top. I'm just going to extend these down along the inside. And we're just going to layer this along the outside, starting by curving along the outside and then just bending that in. We're going to add that seam across the front edge of the collar. So just going in between, just lightly, just tracing this out. Now I just want to double this up. So just tracing that out along the bottom. And then going a little bit darker along the outside trim. I'm just going to add some texture along the inside, these little lines going across. And go back in and add the collarbone. Start with the curves along the side and just bending that in along the center. Then adding the collar of the shirt in between. Now I want to go back and finish tracing out the hair. Now that we have a clean representation of our drawing, we're going to go in and add a final level of detail and also some shading. Let's start with the inside edge of the collar. I'm just going to add some cross hatching to add a shadow. So starting along the bottom, I'm just going to add these lines with an even space in between and just going underneath the hair. And then on the right side, let's go in the opposite direction. Pulling this down and in. I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow line along the inside of the collar and add some cross hatching on the inside. And on the right side, we're just going to do this on the outside of the collar. Now the head's going to cast a shadow on the neck along the top. So we start from the left side. Just going to sketch out a line, a curve coming in toward the middle, go across and up towards the right. Now on the left side, we're just going to add that cross hatch pattern coming down towards the right. Now we're not going that dark. I just want to get a light shade. Also adding a shadow from the bottom left corner. So we'll start with that line first, that guideline, and place the shadow cross-hatching inside. And I'm also going to add a darker shadow just underneath the head. So starting back on the left, trace another line coming down, go across and then up, and I'm just going to darken that up. Again, not going too dark, just want to add a darker shade to the top edge. Add a little bit of cross-hatching just underneath the brow, going in towards the eye, and just fading that out. Tracing that shadow underneath the nose like a V, and shading that in. Now let's add that symbol in the center of the forehead. Start by lightly tracing out a circle, and we'll add in the details. Starting on the top right corner, just going to draw in that swirl, going all the way around, back in. Now I'm just going to darken this up and add a little bit of thickness as we go. Now let's add a diagonal line going across the center. Add a darker shadow going out towards the right. I'm just going to fade that out. As we go out, add a light shade on the left side and just fade that in. Just going to add a curved reflection on the right side. And now we're just going to add some shadows to the hair. Start by tracing out the shape of the shadow first, starting along the inside. I'll just add that light cross-hatching inside. I'm just going to work our way out. Now I'm just going to shade in the outside of the headband, going around that metal plate. Now the hair is going to cast a shadow on top of the headband. So it's going to trace out that shape just underneath, just offsetting it out towards the right. And we'll just darken that up along the bottom. Now as you get near the end, we'll clean up our drawing and always be sure to sign our artwork. And that's pretty much it. There's a sketch illustration of Naruto. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, please make sure you subscribe because I'm posting new lessons every single week. And if you want to keep drawing with me, you might want to check out this video over here. I want to thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon.